Hello, you're on the Reddit Reveals channel. There were two coffee cups on the table. One had lipstick on the rim. The other was mine, still warm. No note. No goodbye. Not even a slammed door. Just silence, and the smell of her shampoo still clinging to the hallway. The same shampoo I'd accidentally bought for her 3 years ago, and she claimed to hate, but kept using anyway. I walked into the kitchen like someone entering a crime scene. My hands were shaking. I don't know why. I already knew what this meant. I knew last night when she said she needed space, but said it while keeping her eyes glued to her phone. Still, I tried to play it cool. Try not to panic. That's what everyone says, right? Don't be needy. Give her time. So I waited. I gave her space. I gave her so much space, I might as well have left the planet. But now this? Her coat was gone. Her favorite boots, the ones with the scuffed heels, gone too. Her laptop charger? Gone. Her backup phone that she claimed was for emergencies? Gone. Only one thing left behind. Her wedding ring. It sat in the sink, next to a half-rinsed wine glass. Like it had been an afterthought. I stared at that ring for a long time. Like it might move. Like maybe this was some kind of twisted test, and if I waited long enough, she'd come back and say it was all a mistake. But she didn't. Not that day. Not the next. And I didn't know it yet. But by the time she finally did reach out, everything had already changed. And it was far, far too late. For the first 3 days, I didn't call. Not because I was strong, but because I didn't know what I'd say. There's something humiliating about begging for answers you're not ready to hear. I kept replaying everything, every moment, every pause in our conversations over the past 2 months. The way she'd stop correcting my grammar mid-sentence like she used to. The way she started showering at night, alone. The way she flinched when I touched her shoulder in the mornings. I told myself this was temporary. That maybe she just needed air, a reset, like people do with phones when they freeze. She'd always said I had a tendency to overanalyze, to read too much into things. But now I felt like not analyzing was what had gotten me here in the first place. So I started digging. I checked her location history. Nothing. Disabled. I tried logging into the shared phone account. Password changed. Her email? Locked out. I stood there like a man holding a puzzle where all the pieces were blank. All I had left was speculation, and that was a dangerous thing in the hands of someone like me. On the 4th day, I broke. I sent her a message. Hey, are you okay? Nothing. Can you just let me know you're safe? Still nothing. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up on the couch, her scent still lingering on the throw blanket she used when she watched her late-night baking shows. It was absurd how much I missed her presence, even if it had been cold for months. I was addicted to the idea of her, and withdrawal was brutal. Then on the 5th day, just as I was convincing myself to move on, my phone buzzed at 2:13 a.m. It was her. Just a single message. I didn't think you'd actually let me leave. I stared at that text for over 10 minutes before responding. My chest tightened, fingers trembling. What did that even mean? Was it regret? Was it a test? Was it her way of saying she wanted me to fight for her? I typed out, deleted, rewrote, and finally sent. I didn't want to, but you asked me to. The typing dots appeared, then disappeared, then nothing. I sat there in the dark, eyes burning, the screen lighting up my face, waiting for her to say something. Anything. But it never came, and I should have let it go. But I didn't. Because the next morning, I did something I promised myself I'd never do. I followed her. I never thought I'd be the kind of man who sat in his car across the street from a townhouse, waiting to see if his wife came out alone. But there I was. A coffee in one hand, shame in the other, parked half a block from where her sister lived. At least that's where she claimed she'd be processing things. She said it was quiet there. Peaceful. A place to think. But on the morning of the 6th day, I saw the lie wear a red jacket. It was hers. The same one I bought her for her birthday 2 years ago. The one she said made her feel expensive but not pretentious. She always wore it when she wanted to feel seen. And now she was wearing it, as she stepped out the back door of a completely different house. Not her sister's. A few streets over. I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't gone to grab a sandwich nearby and taken the long route back. She didn't see me. She was laughing. And not the polite kind of laugh you fake for coworkers. No, this was deep-throated, throw-your-head-back laughter. The kind I hadn't heard in years. She tossed her hair like she was in a shampoo commercial and playfully slapped the arm of a man standing beside her. Tall, shaggy hair. That kind of confidence that comes with either money or recklessness, or both. They walked toward a car. not hers. He opened the door for her like it was a scene from a romance movie, and she leaned in close enough to whisper something. He laughed. I didn't. I stayed in my car, frozen, while they drove off. I couldn't follow. I told myself it would be pathetic. But the truth? I didn't want to know where they were going. I already knew why. Back at home, I stared at the ring in the sink again. Something about it felt different now, like a weapon she had left behind, not a memory. That ring used to mean safety. Now it felt like a trick. I couldn't sit still, so I started pacing. Then I opened her drawer in the bedroom, something I hadn't done since she left. It was almost empty, except for a single Polaroid picture tucked beneath a folded sweater. It was us. From years ago. We were laughing at something out of frame. Her hand was on my face. But someone had drawn a faint pencil line right through the middle of the photo. Carefully, deliberately, slicing us in half. That's when I realized she had been leaving me long before she said the words. Piece by piece, smile by smile, disengaging like someone slowly turning down a dimmer switch until the light disappears and you don't even notice you're sitting in the dark. And yet, even with all that, I still wasn't angry. I was scared, because if she could lie so easily, disappear so calmly, and smile like that with someone else, what else was I blind to? I never wanted to be the kind of man who snoops. I used to think that once you started digging, it meant the relationship was already dead. But standing in the bedroom, holding a photo that had been split with a pencil like someone slicing through a marriage, I realized something. I wasn't digging for truth. I was digging for dignity. I needed to know if I was mourning something real, or just the illusion of love I had clung to like a drowning man hugs driftwood. Her laptop was still there. It sat on the nightstand, charger unplugged, the lid half closed as if left in a rush. She used to take it everywhere. Strange she left it behind now. I hesitated, thumb hovering over the lid. Then I flipped it open. No password. That was my first surprise. The second? A Chrome tab still open. Google Docs. It was a journal. A single document titled Reentry Plan. My stomach twisted before I even read a word. It wasn't a breakup letter. It wasn't even addressed to me. It was a checklist, like a military operation. A calculated outline of how she would reintegrate into her old life after the detachment phase. Bullet points. No emotion. No confusion. Just order. Establish physical distance. Guest room or temporary leave. Avoid confrontation. Let Lionel invent his own guilt. Control narrative with friends and family. Say, it's mutual, just needs time. Keep essentials at his place in case of reversal. Monitor reactions. If he becomes volatile, cut ties. If he folds, proceed with calm exit. I read that last line again. If he folds, proceed with calm exit. I don't know how long I stared at the screen. 10 minutes? 20? Time didn't feel real in that moment. It wasn't just betrayal, it was strategy. Like I had been cast in a play she wrote without telling me. Like my pain was part of the choreography. I felt stupid, pathetic, disposable. She didn't just leave me. She predicted how I would respond. Like I was a character she had rehearsed. And the worst part? She was right. I had folded. I'd given her space. I hadn't yelled or begged. I'd waited. Patiently. Like a good boy. Like a man hoping love could be earned through silence. There was another document. Titled Only J. I opened it. It wasn't a name. Just a letter. But I didn't need more than a few sentences to understand. It was a string of messages she had copied and pasted. Messages to him. The man with the shaggy hair. The one who made her laugh behind another man's house. One line burned hotter than the rest. Being with you feels like breathing again. With him, it felt like suffocating in my own skin. I closed the laptop and sat on the floor. I didn't cry. That would have been too dignified. I just sat there, hollow, like a man who had walked into his own funeral and realized no one came. There's a silence that comes after betrayal that no music or distraction can fill. It's not the silence of a room. It's the silence inside yourself. When the voice that always said, try again, finally goes quiet. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. I wasn't planning to speak to anyone. Not yet. Not until I knew exactly what I was confronting. But after reading her messages to Jay, I couldn't stay in that apartment. Every room smelled like her choices. Every wall echoed a line from that checklist. I needed to breathe. So I got in my car and drove, aimlessly at first, before I found myself outside her sister's place. The one Nora was supposedly staying at. Or pretending to. The porch light was off, but a glow came from the upstairs window. I didn't think. I knocked. A few seconds passed before Delia opened the door, barefoot and wrapped in an oversized hoodie. She blinked at me like she'd just woken from a dream, or maybe a nightmare. "Lionel," she said cautiously. I didn't answer her name. I couldn't say hello. I just asked, "Has she ever actually been here?" Delia stepped back without hesitation and opened the door wider. "Come in." That was my answer. The house smelled like peppermint tea and dryer sheets. Clean. Too clean for how filthy I felt. I followed her into the kitchen, where a single mug sat in the sink. She didn't offer me coffee. She didn't offer me anything. She just sat across from me at the table and said, "She told you yet?" That stopped me. "Told me what?" I asked, but my voice cracked halfway through the question. Delia looked down, like maybe she regretted opening the door. She said she would eventually, that she needed to do it on her terms. I thought she had. "She left 6 days ago," I said. "She's been staying at some guy's place. Not here. She lied about everything. And you." I stopped myself, anger pushing into my throat like a hand around my windpipe. "You knew?" "I didn't know she was with someone else," Delia said quickly. "I swear, Lionel. I knew she was leaving you. She told me a month ago." That hit harder than anything else so far. "A month?" I asked, barely above a whisper. "She said she felt like she was vanishing, that you didn't see her anymore, that she was tired of begging to feel alive." I didn't realize how serious it was. I thought she'd cool down. "She planned it," I muttered, more to myself than to Delia. "She didn't just leave. She drafted an exit strategy like I was a job she was resigning from." Delia frowned. "Look, I don't know the details, okay? I didn't want to be in the middle of it." "Too late," I snapped. "You hosted the lie." "I didn't host anything. She never even brought a suitcase here." That was when it all clicked. The messages, the checklist, the sudden confidence she had the night she walked out. She didn't just find someone else. She relocated her loyalty. She rehearsed leaving me. Practiced it. Delia's house was a decoy. A decoy I believed in because I wanted to believe someone was still on my side. I stood up abruptly. My chair scraped the tile with a squeal. Delia called after me, but I was already halfway out the door. There are certain moments when even a weak man stops begging and starts burning. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew it wasn't back to that apartment. And I wasn't going to wait for her to come back on her terms. Because for the first time, I wanted to be the one who wasn't there when she came looking. I left everything behind except my wallet, my keys, and the ring she abandoned in the sink. No note. No message. I didn't even lock the door. I don't know what I was hoping to accomplish. Maybe nothing. Maybe I just wanted the world to feel what I felt for once. Hollow. Quiet. Unanswered. I drove for hours without direction. Slept in my car the first night. Booked a motel on the second. Burned through my remaining vacation days without telling anyone at work. Turned off my phone. No social media, no email, no location tracking. I ghosted my life like she ghosted our marriage. And for a while, I felt nothing, which was still better than feeling like a doormat someone wiped their future on. But on the fourth day of silence, something strange happened. I woke up to 5 missed calls. All from her. She'd found the motel's number somehow. Left a voicemail that started calm but cracked halfway through. "Lionel, please. I just need to know you're okay. I didn't think you'd just disappear on me." The irony made me laugh out loud. A sharp, bitter sound that echoed too loud in the quiet motel room. Her next message came 3 hours later. "Where are you? This isn't funny. You're scaring me." Scaring her. That was rich. By day 6, the messages shifted. Less panic, more guilt. Less control. Maybe I pushed too hard. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I needed something else. But that doesn't mean I stopped caring." Care. That word felt like poison now. If she cared, why did she draw battle plans instead of boundaries? Why did she lie with such precision? But I didn't reply. Not yet. I wanted to see how far she'd spiral before the silence snapped her composure. By day 7, she sent this. "I keep looking at the door, thinking you'll come back. Even the air feels different without you. I know I said I needed space, but I didn't think you'd vanish. You were always the one who stayed." That's when I realized something. She didn't expect me to leave. She expected me to wait. To stay on standby, on emotional call waiting, while she explored her freedom. Maybe she thought I'd still be in the guest room, eyes red, phone in hand, whispering prayers to her absence like some pathetic monk. But now, she wasn't in control of the silence anymore. I was. And she hated it. I stayed quiet one more day. Then I sent a single message. No greeting. No punctuation. Just 6 words. I'm doing what you asked for. No reply came that night. Or the next. But I knew she saw it. Because that same week, someone else reached out to me. And that person said something that made everything spin sideways. His message came late at night, 2:44 a.m. to be exact, from an unknown number. No name, no introduction, just a single line. You think she told you everything, don't you? At first I thought it was spam, or a cruel prank. But something about the timing, the phrasing, it hit too close to the bone. I stared at the screen for a long time, hands cold, heartbeat suddenly heavy. I typed back before I could second-guess myself. Who is this? The reply came seconds later. Someone who made the same mistake you did. I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at my phone like it might detonate. The next morning, I called the number, half expecting it to be disconnected. He picked up on the second ring. I'm not trying to make this worse, he said. His voice was calm, steady, controlled in a way that made it feel even more dangerous. But you deserve the full picture. She won't give it to you. You're the one she's seeing now, aren't you? I asked, my throat suddenly dry. There was a pause. Then, I was. Something in the way he said that made my stomach turn. He told me his name was Jacob. He worked as a graphic designer. Met her at a gallery opening she attended alone 2 months ago. She told him she was married, but emotionally neglected, that I was a shell of a man, a ghost with a wedding ring. She played the victim card with such conviction that he believed her. She said you'd stop touching her, that you slept in different rooms, that you were angry all the time. I didn't even know what to say. That part was true, but it wasn't the whole story. She never told him why we were sleeping in different rooms. She never mentioned her plan, her strategy, her checklist. To him, she was the misunderstood wife, drowning in a loveless marriage. But then he said something that made my hands go numb. She said she wanted something clean, a reset. But when she was with me, she still talked about you. Constantly. Not with hate, with guilt and nostalgia. I nearly laughed. Nostalgia? After gutting me like a pig and leaving me to bleed in silence? She said I reminded her of who she used to be, but not who she wanted to become. That line broke something open in me, because I knew what it meant. Jacob wasn't her future. He was her emotional detour, her temporary escape, just like I had once been for her when she left her ex before me. A pattern repeating itself with terrifying symmetry. I ended it last week, Jacob said. She cried, but not for me. I think she realized she miscalculated. She thought you'd wait forever. She told me she needed space, I said quietly. She didn't want space, Jacob replied. She wanted permission. That was the moment it all clicked. The reason she left her ring, the reason she never fully moved her stuff out, the reason she kept texting when I disappeared. It wasn't closure she was looking for. It was control. She wanted to be the one to decide when the story ended. But I had stolen that from her. And now she was unraveling. Before Jacob hung up, he said one last thing. I don't think she ever hated you. I just think she loved the version of you that never existed. The call ended. And for the first time, I felt nothing. No anger. No heartbreak. No shame. Just clarity. Because now I finally understood what I needed to do next. And it wouldn't involve words. I came back on a Sunday afternoon, exactly 14 days after I vanished. The apartment was quiet. The same throw blanket still hung on the couch. The same wedding ring still sat in the sink. The same photo on the fridge, us in better days, our heads leaning together like we believed in forever. But something in the air had changed. She wasn't there. Not at first. But I knew she would be. I'd left just enough of myself behind to keep her orbiting. I sat at the table, the same spot where we used to eat dinner in silence. I didn't need to pack. I didn't need to speak. I just waited. At 6:17 p.m., the front door creaked open. I didn't look up. I heard her steps. Slow. Careful. She froze in the doorway, like she wasn't sure if I was real. Lionel. I still didn't look. I'm not here to fight, I said. I just came for peace. She walked closer, but kept her distance. You disappeared. I did, I nodded. It was the only thing I hadn't tried. There was a long pause. She looked thinner. Tired. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. I didn't know how much noise you filled the space with until it was gone. I turned toward her. For the first time in weeks, I looked her in the eyes. And I didn't feel small. I didn't feel broken. I just felt done. You wanted space, I said. I gave it to you. And in it, I I found something I forgot I had. She tilted her head. What's that? Myself. She looked away, blinking fast. Did you find someone else? That surprised me. I shook my head gently. No. I found quiet. I found mornings without tension. I found food that tasted like something again. I found out that being alone doesn't mean being empty. She looked like she was holding her breath. Are you leaving me? I smiled. Not cruelly. Not bitterly. Just honestly. I already did. You just didn't notice. And then I stood. I walked to the sink. Picked up the ring she left behind. Held it for a moment. Then I placed it gently on the table. I'm not angry, I said softly. But I'm not waiting anymore. I hope you find whatever you thought was missing. I really do. She didn't stop me. And I didn't turn back. I stepped outside into the golden light of evening, the air cool against my face, and for the first time in a long, long time, I felt free. Not because she was gone, but because I finally was.